How's it going, guys? I just wanted to get this out there because I've been thinking about it for the past couple of days, and I just wanted it recorded so, I can always come back to this video and just look at it and just, remember what I said and all that. So if you've been watching me for a while, you probably know that I'm a fan of Black Ops 2. It's not the best. I acknowledge its flaws, but I like Black Ops 2 Zombies. I like Transit and that, especially Buried. Buried's my second favorite map, and there was a big plot point with it, which was the rift, that big hole in the ground. And in Die Rise, Richtofen mentions to Samuel in the intro, he says, mend the rift. Now in Shadows of Evil, we have these portals, and they're called rift portals when you go and activate them. They do have a similar appearance to the rift in Buried. They've got that orange outline, a darkish middle area. So I've been mulling it around in my brain, and I reckon there's got to be a connection between the two. You don't name something in a later map after a serious plot point in an earlier map. And the fact they look the same, I think that hints at that, but we haven't really had it spelled out to us. Now putting that aside, with Origins, we started getting to the other dimensions and all that. But what I'm thinking is, the original universe, Nacht der Untoten to Buried, that was like that by itself, and we had these other dimensions and stuff, but we didn't have any of this dimension hopping stuff originally. I can accept like the Origins verse existed during the World at War universe, but obviously they never interacted until the events of Moon and then Buried. We send these rockets, and the rocket ends up either creating the rift or uncovering it, I don't know, in Buried, but it's just there. Now with Buried, there's no real canon ending. Richtofen says he wants to mend it, Maxi says he needs to get into Agartha, and then we get to Origins, and Origins has like no real connection to any of the other maps except that Samantha is in Agartha in it, and that's literally it. So what I'm thinking is, one of these end games from Buried with Richtofen or Maxi's, this has somehow triggered the dimension hopping. Somehow Samantha has been able to go over to this Origins dimension. And then evidently, this has caused the whole dimensional hopping, and then Black Ops 3 itself. Now, I don't know if he knew this would happen, but Richtofen says mend the rift. But maybe that's a subtle hint at the Apothicons. Maybe we got it as far back as Die Rise, the concept of Apothicons, because, in Moon, Samantha says there's something far more worse to Richtofen to, dissuade him from doing all this stuff. And then Richtofen says mend the rift. Now of course he could just be saying that because his endgame and his goal is to just make Earth his plaything, and he obviously wants it healed and stuff. So that could be why he said mend the rift, so it's not just this giant hole. But maybe he knew something else about it. Maybe he knew that the rift wasn't all that it seemed to be. When we first did Buried, I thought it was just a hole in the earth, and that was the lava, and it was like the Earth's core. And because, Agartha is supposedly in the center of the Earth, the Black Sun, Hollow Earth, Shambhala, I think it is. But with Shadows of Evil, with these rift portals and how they look, I'm starting to think that that giant hole in Buried, the rift, was actually just a giant portal. Ultimately, this is all a long shot, but I feel like Black Ops 2, with Transit, Die Rise and Buried, I'm an advocate for them. I feel like they need to be noticed because it's just better to recognize it all is canon, and I know a lot of people did not like those maps, but I don't think they deserve to be ignored. Just as I'd love for Nacht der Untoten to be included and expanded upon, the loading screen. We still haven't figured out Nacht's loading screen. But yeah, I think this is a great way to tie it in with Buried. If the rift in Buried was actually a rift portal like in Shadows of Evil, and a bit of a long shot, but let's say World War II Richtofen is somehow warning us about the Apothicons. He doesn't mention them at all, and he only says mend the rift like once. But, I think that'd be a fun tie-in. But, I'd be fine with if they just made the rift in Buried, just a portal. And then I could keep my hopes alive for, Misty, Martin, Samuel and Russman making a comeback. And, they go into that portal and then they just come out in a different dimension. I thought that would be pretty cool. But yeah, guys, that's just all I wanted to say. Just wanted to get that out on video just so I could come back and look at this at a future date and just see, if it ever pans out or not. Alright, guys, I will see you later. Cheers.